When you take off. Is the volume on?
What time do you want, Drew?
Volume's on.
Okay.
Unless you call it their partner.
It's up to you. Ready to go?
Just remember to repeat the question.
What side do the people want me on? The right side, left?
I'm a right hand man.
You are my right hand man. Right hand man. Gotcha. All right. How many people do we have today?
What do we got, Carrie?
46 people on. Outstanding.
Hi, guys.
Any questions so far? All right. So this night is for you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Officer Rosemond. I'm a recruiter here in Border Division. Sitting to my left is Officer Leo Lozano, my partner here for the evening. He's actually a background investigator with our division. So great time for questions regarding the hiring process with me, a recruiter who's designed to train you for the hiring process, success in testing, as well as the academy, and background questions as well.
Absolutely.
General info about us, our careers, where we're from, where we're going, and kind of get you in the mood, in the groove as a new applicant to have the right mindset to be successful in the hiring process. The hiring process for CHP is not short. It's not designed to be that way at all. It's not abbreviated for anyone. Whether you're previously law enforcement or whether you're current active duty Marine, Navy, Air Force, Army, college, private business sector, healthcare, everyone goes through the same exact hiring process with us. And the reason for that is to make sure that we vet the people that are going to be wearing our badge, wearing a uniform, representing us, representing you, the people of California later on. We are out in the world protecting, serving, responding to calls. Now, a little info about myself. My title is recruiter for the CHP, but my actual tasking, my role is to train applicants. We're very different than some of the military history of the recruiter getting people to sign and get the name on dotted line. That's not our goal at all. Our whole focus is to find people that we want to work with, and that's what we want. Now, tonight is for you. We'd love to have lots of questions from you about what's going to help you be successful in the hiring process. If you can, don't ask why the sky's blue, all right? Or don't ask why the patrol car is black and white. And for the last time, don't ask why I'm so handsome in uniform. I don't know. But other things that'll help you out in the hiring process, that's what we're here for. This is for you. This is the first part of our applicant preparation program, the first kickoff session of our online-based training program. In the past, we've done everything face-to-face, in person, seminars, workshops, workouts in person with you to motivate you and inform you to be better people, better future officers, better future cadets. But due to COVID-19 and the CDC requirements that have been set forth, we figured we would try and work with that and the current circumstance that we're all in and give you some kind of training that's going to help you be better for tomorrow, the week after that, and between now and your testing date and your academy date. All right. Now, a little history about myself. I've been a recruiter for our division for 4 years. This has been one of the best jobs in my entire career with the CHP. Before that, I came from the El Cajon area office in East County, San Diego, and also San Diego is where I grew up as well. I went to college at Cal State San Marcos. My degree was not in criminal justice. It wasn't in anything law enforcement focused. That wasn't my goal at all when I was 21, 22 years old.
Underwater evacuating?
It was something like that. Any easy class? Might have been that. I was taking it, all right? I was actually a psychology major. And about 22, 23 years old was when I decided, you know what? I love my career, love the job I'm in. I was actually working as a college counselor, but I realized that my goal was to be outside, outdoors, helping people. I had a great career beforehand, and the worst thing that my previous employer did was give me a window view, a window office where I could see outside, and it just kept calling me. And I found myself in uniform a short time after that, and I have no regrets. I've loved this job ever since. But I'll let Officer Lozano talk about his history a little bit, because as you can see, I can talk all night, and then we'll roll into some of your questions.
Yeah, he does talk a lot. He's really good at it.
My name is. I'd like to talk about.
You do a good job.
Yeah. I'll stop.
My name is Officer Leo Lozano. I am an officer with the California Highway Patrol, obviously. I've been with the Highway Patrol since 2008. I started my career in San Diego. Then I went to El Cajon. And then I told myself I'd never work in an office, and here I am. But it's been the most enjoyable part of this job is being able to hire great officers out there for our department, and to hire good beat partners for my fellow friends out there, fellow officers out there on the road right now. So I'm here for any background questions. I'm a background investigator. I've been a background investigator since October of 2019, so not very long. So I'm here for you. Any questions you have regarding backgrounds? I may be your background investigator if you come to San Diego. I'm here for you. So a little background about me. I grew up in San Diego County. However, I went to a school in Cal State Fullerton in 1998. After that, I was an engineering major. After that, I was kind of lost, didn't know what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a highway patrol officer. I applied in 2007, ending up getting in 2008, and here I am. It's the best career ever. It's the most satisfying career you'll have. I owe everything to the California Highway Patrol. They give me a lot. I can never repay them.
How many years do you have on, Officer Lozano?
Came on 2008, so I have almost 12 years.
12 years. I've got just over 10 years myself. So you're talking to a few officers that have some experience, been around the block. We've had a chance to work all over San Diego County, but also mainly trained statewide in Sacramento. I've been deployed to Los Angeles. As myself, I was part of the SRT Special Response Team deployment back in 2016 when we were sent about 300 officers out to Cleveland, Ohio for the Republican National Convention to assist Cleveland Police Department with site security, safety, logistics, and operations to add to the security and safety of the delegates and the people of Cleveland as they're out there for that large convention where millions of people are coming into their city. Great experience working with CHP officers, not only from San Diego, Los Angeles, Southern California, but all over the state, but also other state police officers all over the United States, working with Florida State Police, Massachusetts State Police, Texas, all over. Even I think we even had some Montana PD out there as well. So great experience. We'll talk to you more about that later on. Now, as you begin to get yourself going in the hiring process, I think most of you have already taken the first step, applying online, getting yourself locked in for our next exam date. Right now, our next test date is locked in for June 13th. And anyone that applied before April 6th, honored before to test, depending on how the COVID-19 circumstance may change between now and the next 60 days. And we're sitting around 6 days from then. So, but after that, the next testing, if you applied after that, April 7th, and since then, you'll be testing with us in October. So you have more time to train, more time to prepare, and more time to go out there and knock that test out and kill it. All right. But we'll start jumping into some of your questions right now.
Okay.
I think we have Officer Carrie Rubis right behind the screen here. She's the mind behind it all today. So she'll be asking your questions, and we'll kind of jump into those right now.
Okay, can we ask them if they can hear you guys well before we go on? If someone can comment on the volume. Just to make sure.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, yes, no. Maybe just have to move that microphone up a little bit. Yeah.
We should have checked the audio
Okay.
before, right?
Everyone's saying volume is great, so we're good.
Good.
We can start questioning. Okay. The first question is, are we still on for the June 13th PAT, or will it be canceled?
Can you all hear that question?
They're saying they can, but maybe you can just repeat it before.
Great. Yeah, so her question was kind of what I just got into. The question was, are we still on for June 13th, our summer testing? Right now, we're still locked in. We're still confirmed for that date. We're still working on logistics for that date as if we were going to test all of you on that weekend. If we are able to move forward on that date, just so you know, there's a possibility that we could wind up splitting our testing date from a one-day testing, which we just did last February, to a two-day testing process, likely having the physical test all day in two separate groups on that PAT on the Saturday, and having the written test in two separate groups, maybe three, on that Sunday. All right, just for separation, for proximity reasons. I think you kind of get where we're going there. But yes, we are still locked in for June 13th. If anything changes, we will notify you. At least 15 to 30 days out.
Hopefully see you out there.
We hope to see you out there. I mean, if you do come out there, you've got 60 days to train. Come out there and kill it. We don't want anyone to fail. All right?
No excuses.
Okay.
No, please.
Can you be slightly colorblind and still be an officer in the CHP?
That is a great question. We have people that ask that on a regular basis. For part of our testing and the medical side, we do expect normal vision, normal color reading regarding vision for that.
Sorry about that. No, the requirement of ours.
So just reiterate, if you're colorblind.
No. So if you're colorblind, that's a no. That's a no. So you got to be able to read, that red light or green light if you're going through the intersection in pursuit of someone, right? So it comes down to safety.
Okay. What's the update on any app workouts?
Ooh. Yeah, as you can see, we had to separate the actual in-person workouts. We plan to do practice PATs for those preparing for the actual PAT test. And for a little bit of information, we actually have our program broken up into 3 different phases. We have phase 1, individuals that just applied, they're preparing for the PAT and the written test. Phase 2, individuals that passed, qualified in the PAT, qualified the written test, now they're in backgrounds. And those individuals are preparing for the academy. So they have a little more advanced workout system than those that are preparing for just the PAT. So those moto runs is what we used to call those for phase 2 applicants. We'll continue from an online-based program. We'll be doing those via Zoom, just like we'll be doing practice PATs via Zoom as well. In the near future, though, the first phase 1 training will be kicking off here on Zoom. It will be actually this Saturday. You're going to actually all receive an email tonight and tomorrow morning, inviting you out for a Zoom hiring orientation. That is the very first step in the hiring process for any of our applicants. It's not required. It's no mandatory attendance. However, you will be better for it if you do participate and tune in online. The email you receive will have a link to the Zoom actual account. That'll kick off at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. So if you tune in, clicking that link, you'll be able to ask questions about the hiring process, the different units, specialized units within CHP, how to be more prepared for backgrounds, how to be more prepared for the academy, etc. Great forum for us to get together digitally, can't do it in person at the moment, and get you the information that you actually do need right now.
Okay. Is the background phase affected by COVID-19?
Right now, we're at full strength right now. We're still doing full investigations right now. We're trying to do most of it by phone right now, call your contacts and so forth, but it's still full. We're working fully right now. So we still need to get people up to the academy. The academy is currently temporarily shut down. However, as soon as they open, we're planning on going 150 per class. So it's a good chance if you go through background, you'll be going fairly soon.
Okay, this question's for Officer Lozano. For those of us who have recently submitted our ESOP, what will be the next step, and approximately how long will it be before we hear something?
Okay, so if you just submitted your ESOP, you'll be getting a notice for a background orientation. We're due to the COVID situation right now. We're going to be calling in smaller groups and doing a little background orientation, telling you what you need to do for your background, what you need to have, and then we'll be handing you a background investigation questionnaire, which we expect back within a week. And then after that, if all your ducks in a row, everything looks good, we'll be calling you in for your first interview. So if you just submitted your ESOP, expect to be called by your background investigator shortly.
Okay. Because of COVID-19, are they still going to have the written and the physical exam on the same day?
Yeah, we just touched on that just a second ago. So due to the COVID-19 and proximity, we could be forced to actually separate the test into 2 different days. The first day being that physical test, having separate groups with smaller groups, and the second day likely being the written test. But at this point right now, we have not made that definite decision yet. We're still moving forward with the testing looking like it's going to be going on September 13th on that Saturday for both written and the physical test. If anything does change, which I'm letting you know right now, there is that possibility. I think anything is possible right now. The daily changes with the COVID-19 circumstance, anything's possible. We're going to try and circumvent and mitigate the issues as we can. If we can't, we'll push things off. We'll have to regroup and focus on that October testing. But our goal right now is to test you on that weekend of the 13th, likely that Saturday and Sunday weekend, PT and written separate days. But it's possible, hopefully, we'll be able to kind of move past this and just keep that one-day testing.
What is the timeline between passing the physical and written tests and the background check?
Okay, so if you pass your physical written test, you got accepted to do an eSoft profile, which hopefully you've completed. Like I said, then you'll be called in for a background orientation, which will answer any questions about your background process you need to answer. Hopefully we can help. We're looking at about 6 months to a year right now, from the time you get into backgrounds to the time you get an invitation probably to the academy.
If they have specific questions about drug usage, instead of talking about it here about one specific person, who can they call or email?
Yeah, they can contact the recruiter. The email that you received regarding this invitation for this evening's seminar, this evening's Cop with a Cop, reply to the email. Ask us a question, any question at all. We're going to be pretty straightforward with you, all right? We're not going to beat around the bush, and we're going to try and give you as much info as we can so you can make a decision about yourself and your future. But keep in mind, there are certain things that we cannot discuss. Some of our requirements regarding drug use are kept, confidential for a reason. So we're not going to give you the right answer to say in essence. But we will give you as much info as we can to help you make a good decision for you and your family.
I'd like to add something for the drug use question. Just be completely honest about your drug use question. We get more officers that get hired on, but they're honest about certain things, rather than us finding out about them and it doesn't look good in your background. So just be completely honest. Be upfront with us, and we'll do whatever we can do to help you resolve these situations. Okay. So good luck to you.
Is this going to be posted somewhere online if people missed it, or they have to leave the chat early?
Yeah, so you have obviously you have a YouTube account. You have our contact YouTube network or account there. That should be, keep in mind, this is a work in progress. We expect that it should be still available to you to see and observe after the seminar is over. Instead of going to just our normal videos, you have to go to our live feed videos to see the history of our live feed.
Can your family member's background affect the applicant in getting a job with the CHP?
Great question. I think you'll kind of jump into that. We get that pretty often.
I was always told that you can't pick your family, so your family background shouldn't affect you. We look at you as an individual and see what you've done, and we take that into account. We don't take the family into too much account. Okay, so don't worry about that too much.
What kind of attire is to be worn for the physical and written test?
So 30 days out from the actual test date, I myself, recruitment unit down here, we're going to be sending you an email with all the details about what to bring with you, what to expect. Now, keep in mind, from a PAT standpoint, you're going to show up that morning, shoes on your feet, running shoes on your feet, workout clothes on, a gallon of water, your printed invitation that you receive via email, all right? And bring a photo ID, a valid photo ID, so you can actually check in and verify who you are. The day of the written test and the time of the written test, that's a whole different mode of operandi. So during the written test, we expect you to show up looking like someone who wants a job, wants a career, not just a job, and wants a career not just with anyone with the California Highway Patrol. So however you decide to show up, that's going to be on you. However, I know how I would show up, and how I did show up 10 years ago was full suit, all right? If you have one, do the best you can. Put together a professional attire to put forth the person you want to be seen as, and so we can take you seriously.
Okay. Is there a maximum or a minimum disability level established that would prevent an applicant from being hired?
That is actually a great question. We get a lot of info from our medical staff, but the actual disability rating is not one. So for the most part, they give us a thumbs up or thumbs down once you do pass through the PAT, the written test, the background investigation, psych evaluation, and the medical. You're seen by an independent medical practitioner, and they will basically tell us if you are qualified for our academy. The actual breakdown about disability ratings from the military, Navy, Marine Corps, Army, any branch, they keep that confidential and they make an independent decision on their own. So I would like to say, this is the exact percentage you can get through with, 50%, 80%, 90%, whatever it could be. But we're not privy to that information at all from the medical staff that we see.
Okay. Some information is hard to get on the ESOP program because of things being closed down with COVID-19. What can they do in those cases?
I'm assuming you're talking about references, getting contact information. Do the best you can to get as much information for your background investigator as you can. It helps us a lot. It makes the background process more smooth and a lot quicker. Do the best you can to get those contacts if you can. I know it's tough right now. Everything's closed down. People are not working right now. So just do your best to help your background investigator out. It looks better when you get the contact information rather than us trying to find it. Just looks a lot better in your background. So if you can, do your best.
Yeah, so what he's saying is it's going to fall on you a lot as an applicant to do your own background, all right? To vet the phone numbers, you're going to give your background investigator the addresses, make sure those businesses or the phone numbers or the contact info is still valid and current, and exercise every option to get the information that they request from you, all right? If you look like someone who has that attention to detail, putting forth that effort level, then that's all we can ask.
Absolutely.
Okay. Where on the CHP careers page can you find the form STD 678?
So if you go to CHP Careers, you click on the link that says Become an Officer on a desktop, not on your actual cell phone or tablet. Hop onto a desktop computer, and that's when you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen, the monitor, all the tabs you probably have not seen on your cell phone. One of the very bottom tabs, they usually does say Forms. They might have moved that bottom tab where it says Forms to the middle. All right, they'll hold you to that, but use your judgment and take a look there, and that's exactly what it's going to be.
Okay. Officer Rosemont, can you please clarify that the Moto Runs and SMA series will now be on Zoom?
So that's going to be part of our new training program. In the short term, is that Zoom is going to be our main mode of operandi for a lot of our in-person, especially computer-based training. So our hiring orientations will be there. I believe the Moto Runs, we're still toying around with that. It could be on Zoom, it could be on YouTube Live. We'll see how that works out. Best for us regarding the technology that we have. But those would be the two operandi, the two platforms we'll be using, one or the other. We'll be notifying you far in advance so you'll be able to tune in. All right, so you won't miss anything.
Hopefully this is over. We can do it in person. Those are the most fun.
Those are the fun. And I think you'll all
go out there and
you'll enjoy those.
We work out with you too. So,
can you share what the written exam will entail?
So the written test is a 150 question, 3-section exam. You have about 2.5 hours to complete that. Basically, it's a language aptitude test. Language aptitude going back to high school equivalency English. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Vocabulary, syntax, grammar. If you have a chance to, I'd suggest hopping onto our website, chpcareers.com. You'll be able to actually see a link on there, just like where I said Become an Officer. You see a link on the right-hand side when you go on a desktop that tells you all about the written test. Preparation always favors those that actually seek it out and perform. And that's one thing as well that I know for a fact. If you start now, between now and June or October, depending on when you applied and you're testing with us, that's going to make you feel a lot more comfortable seeing the content, going through those practice exams, as well as if you have a chance to, you should also receive an email from us as a new applicant, the welcome email you received just this week, explaining and breaking down the webinar that's available to you via Ms. TB Daniels. It's a written exam preparation course. It's a live webinar, a recorded webinar series. They'll be able to access to learn all about how to prepare effectively for the written test. And if you need more assistance, more guidance, more one-on-one sessions, Ms. TB Daniels also gives a paid program that you have the option to pursue as well. But the webinar is completely free, all right? The applicant study guide with the link on there on our website, also free, all right? So I suggest researching both. And if you have questions, can't find it, contact us, email CHP Board of Recruitment at chp.ca.gov, all right? Or reply to the email you received inviting you out for tonight's coffee with a cop.
Is there a list of requirements we can start gathering before the background investigation so that we can have everything ready to go if we get to that stage?
A list of requirements. I would get. I'll start getting your looking for your employment, finding the years, the dates of your employment, supervisors. That'd be good to start with. Places you lived in the last 10 years. Start getting the contacts, who your landlords were, property managers, neighbors. We do contact all those people I just referenced right there. Another good start would be to what else can you think of? Is Officer Rivas. Officer Rivas is also a background investigator. So
someone was asking if they have to put family members' phone numbers down for background as well.
oh yeah, of course, family members' phone numbers. But I just assumed that you guys would know those right away. So I'm thinking like landlords and former coworkers, former supervisors would be a good list to start gathering right now. Remember, it's a 10-year background, so we go back 10 years. So,
is there any recommendations that can help us prepare for the post-pellet test?
Those are all the things I just kind of went through right now. So going through our website here to take a look at that applicant study guide is number one. Get very familiar with that. It actually gives you a lot of information, not just about the pellet B exam, the post-pellet B exam, but also the hiring process with CHP, our academy, and what you have to look forward to in the near future. All right. When you actually do have a chance to hop back onto your email address, go back to that welcome email we sent you this week. And on that welcome email, you'll see about halfway down that email, you see a link for the webinar with Miss Stevie Daniels. She's a great resource. A resource to you that all of us in this room did not have. We would have definitely appreciated if it was available at the time. Someone taking the time to show us what the test will be about, give us actual formalized training for that, so we'd have, number one, hopefully better score than whatever we got back in the day, and perform better and have a better, easier, smoother hiring process, but also just put some more at ease. All right. So that webinar with me, Stevie Daniels, that's number one of many things you can do on top of using that these applicant study guide and the practice exam for that. One part of the test that tends to throw some of our applicants for a loop is the closed portion of the test. We're basically going to give you a series of paragraphs with words missing throughout the paragraph, and you're going to fill in the box with a word that is 4 characters long, 6 characters long, whatever it could be, that fits in with that sentence. And when you do that, it's going to be basically off of your vocabulary that you already have. That's already part of what you've been through educational-wise, and things you've seen, your experiences, the people that you talk to, the way you communicate. So another thing you can do as well is grab a book that's moderately challenging for you, where 1 word, 2 words, 3 words every page. You have to go back and look it up again. You have another word, another tool in your toolbox to use possibly when you are sitting there on that closed portion and you need an extra word or two to get that answer right. And sometimes it comes down to 1, 2, 3 answers that be the difference between you passing and failing. So several things you can do, but just a few that I would recommend.
Okay, there's been a couple more people that have asked about colorblind, so I think they came into this late. You can just address colorblind and CHP again.
Yeah, so for us, you actually hop onto our applicant study guide. It'll give you a breakdown about the colorblind requirements. We just need normal vision from you, unfortunately, because you have to be able to see the difference of traffic signals and different colors as you're enforcing the law. You're out there patrolling. That's just kind of part of what we do. But it's not going to be anything that an officer person gives you a specific test for. That'll be part of the medical evaluation that they give us, the thumbs up or thumbs down, when you are ready to get that far in the hiring process.
sorry about that.
Okay. If we were unable to get paperwork before submitting the ESOP, can we send them prior to being called in for an initial interview?
What was that? Can you repeat the question?
If we were unable to get paperwork before submitting the ESOP, can we send them prior to being called in for an initial interview?
I would just wait till your background investigator contacts you, and then fill them in on the information that you obtained, and then explain to them him or her the reason why you obtained this information at that time.
Okay. Officer Lozano, what factors determine which background investigator we are assigned? How many active applicants do you manage at a time?
I try to take about 6 to. It depends how many applicants we get. The last my experience, the last class we had, I took 6 applicants. We have 7 background investigators. 7 now, Carrie? 7.
Yeah.
7 background investigators, and we just divide them up basically based on area. We have 1 investigator out of Temecula. We have 2 out of our Catella facility, and we have 4 here in our San Diego office.
Oh, where's Catella?
Catella is up in the Orange County area. We do cover that area up there on the Orange County side, and we also cover the Temecula area. So we have investigators up there. Basically, based off where you live, we try to take the investigator who's closest to you. It makes it easier for you too to come in for interviews and so forth. So.
Okay. Does applying to other departments besides the CHP affect getting hired by the CHP?
So for that, we know that you're on a job search. I think that's kind of out in the open. It's not a surprise at all. I think we have a lot of applicants that tend to kind of get unsure, and they're not sure how we feel about them looking at other art departments, other careers, other agencies. We get it. You're looking for career advancement for yourself, and this is just one of the many places you can do that with. So we don't look at you poorly at all for pursuing other agencies, looking at different career options. That's what you should be doing right now in your life. That's no big deal. But just keep in mind that we do have to communicate with every agency that you also talk to, and every agency that's doing a background investigation on you. We have to compare and make sure that we're on the same page about what you're telling them, as well as what you're telling us. So we're not going to look at it as a negative thing that if you apply for other agencies, but just know that we have to vet and communicate with every department. So if you apply for 2, 3 other agencies, then that's only 2 or 3 agencies we have to contact and talk to. But if you apply for 15 or 20, then you can see where we're going there. That'll take a little bit longer. And that's where the breadth and depth of the 8 to 14 month time frame can come from, is how many people we have to contact to know who you are and know what you're about, and find out if you are ready for this career from a maturity standpoint, or if you are ready for this career from a decision-making standpoint, and all the above. All right, so that's just part of the process. But no, it's not a negative thing to look for to apply for their agencies.
Okay, if you pass the written exam but score lower than the other applicants, will that be a factor in moving on to the next step?
Yeah, so every one of our applicants, they are put in different tiers based off of how you perform on the written exam. And the top tier, those that in essence ace that test, are of course placed first in the background investigation process with their background investigator. If you got a C minus on that test, should you go before someone who got an A plus prepared for 3 months, 4 month dedicated or time frame to make sure they're ready for that test to ace it? It's up to you to decide, all right? But that's kind of the way we break it down. Also, our military veterans, those with DD 214 in hand, separated. You also, thank you for serving our country. Thank you for the time you've done, you put into defending us, and that time away from your family, from your friends, and those uncomfortable environments where you're training and deployed to. And you're the one way that we feel we can actually try and pay you back for that work you put in is to put you in top tier with those that also ace that test if you present your DD 214 to our Cal HR. So that's kind of part of another way to get in that top tier outside of just acing that test. All right. But yes, it does depend. That does affect how quickly your background investigation can begin. Now, on the caveat, on the other side of that, if you ace that test and you are asked to submit forms and documents to your background investigator, and half of the boxes are missing, where do you put that background?
Exactly. It goes on the bottom of my pile, okay? Like I said, just organization is big for me, okay? You have all your contacts, you've done the research, you have all your ducks in a row. I'm gonna take yours first because you look like you're the most squared away, and that's who we want, okay? So just remember, organization, and get all your contacts, get all your references, and get everything ready, okay?
Yeah, great question so far. And we're also going to cover a lot of this stuff again this Saturday at the hiring orientation, all right? But this is just a great content. I'm actually waiting for more questions about us and how we got to where we are and why we look so great in uniform. Besides that,
I understand
that's okay.
I understand people look for a career, so
it's all about you guys. That's okay.
Okay, how do I find which recruiter to contact personally?
So if you want to contact a recruiter, there's only 2 of us here in the border division. Border division entails from Disneyland in Orange County all the way to the Mexican border, and from the beaches of San Diego, Pacific Beach, and Huntington Beach, all the way out to the Arizona border. And it's myself, Officer Rosemont, and my partner, Officer Schultz. Officer Schultz is also available at the same CHP border recruitment email address as I am, so you can address either one of us, or you can just request and ask, recruiter, here's my question. Now, when you do contact us via email, the same expectation level you're going to have as an officer, as a cadet, we're going to expect from you right now. And that is in line to prepare you for communicating with your background investigator once you get through the phase 1 of training and you go into the actual background process. So we expect you to have that format down, all right, professional format, a greeting, the body of the email, and a close, meaning good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Here's my question, Officer so-and-so. Thank you very much. Very respectfully. Have a great day. First name, last name, and a contact phone number for you, cell phone number that actually works. And if you put down your cell phone number, please, for your benefit, I'm telling you right now, great time to set up your voicemail. How many times do we contact applicants that have no voicemail set up? Can't leave a message. They have no idea who called, and we never have a chance to really connect with them and get the information they need or we need from them, which in essence extends your hiring process, or is the thing that undermines your hiring process as well. So just some good info for you, but always professional greeting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My question, my concern, respectfully, thank you, applicant, first name, last name, and contact phone number. All right.
Okay. What happens if your employer or neighbor contact information is limited, outdated, or unavailable? Like maybe the former employer is unreachable at the contact info they gave us at the time. What should they do?
I would just do your best. Get us the best contact you can. It looks better when you provide us with that contact information rather than me going out and finding it. If I find it and you couldn't do it, it just doesn't look good in your background process. Okay. So do your best you can to get a contact for that person. Use social media if you can. Try to locate that person. Ask them for a contact. Just let them know you're in the background process to become a California Highway Patrol officer. I'm sure they'll help you out. They knew you're going to pursue a career like that. So do the best you can to get that contact information. Looks better when you get it rather than me finding it.
Okay. Hearing that the background is the last 10 years, should I still be gathering info further back than that?
It looks good if you have the information. I believe the applications only require 10 years of history. So you can always go back and get a little bit more information for us. We'll probably find a little bit more information, but we only require you 10 years of employment, residences, and so forth.
Okay.
Just to follow up on that, is it possible that you could ask for something at year 11 or after year 12 to follow up with part of your investigation? So preparation goes a long way for you guys. Goes a long way. So we can never be too prepared for anything in life. So I would say have that 10 years locked in, but be prepared for 12 or 15 or 16 just in case.
I might find something years back, beyond 10 years. A ticket you might have got back in way back, for street racing or something. So this is an example. Okay, so we'll find it. Okay, so just be prepared. All right.
What are people commonly medically disqualified for?
Yeah, so that kind of goes back to one thing that we don't we have a limited information on because our medical screening is done by non-CHP personnel. It's done by an outside third-party medical doctor who just gives us thumbs up or thumbs down if they feel that you're medically qualified, prepared for this career.
Can someone just skip to the medical exam?
Unfortunately, no. You have to do a background investigation. Okay. We want the best people, so we're gonna investigate you thoroughly. Okay. So I'm sure you'd want an officer out there taking care of your family, keeping your family safe to be background checked. Okay.
Is there a possibility right now for ride-along?
We're suspending ride-alongs. In a normal circumstance, though, outside of the COVID-19 situation, we would basically want to vet you and figure out who you are before we allow you on a ride-along, as in clearing the background investigation. Not saying that you're not ready for a ride along, we're not going to get you one. We want to make sure we know who you are before we put you in the car, a police car with a police officer with weapons, etc. All right. And big picture wise, it's going to benefit you way more getting that ride along experience weeks or a few months before you actually start the academy training, where you can actually get that baseline knowledge and that reference point. And when you start the academy to train, you'll see exactly how it was used in the real world. It'll make more sense to you rather than day one, week one, as soon as the application is in online, getting you a ride along, you're gonna forget the experience or not really understand exactly what's going on. But in the short term, right now, just due to the circumstance, we are not offering ride alongs because of proximity reasons and for safety for you, the applicant, and for our officers in the field.
Gentlemen, after submitting our veterans preference to the state, what is the process to be moved to rank 1 of the hiring process? Is there a difference between the different ranks or groups?
Yes, there is a difference between the ranks, and we'll probably kind of wrap this up in about 10 minutes here. But the ranking system is based off of, number 1, how you perform in the written test. Those that ace that test are in tier 1. Those that get that C are in the final tier. All right. But if you are submitting your veterans preference, as in you are separated from the military, you have your DBC 14 in hand. That is submitted through Cal HR. On the day of the physical test and the written test, we're actually going to give you a sheet, a form, when you do pass and qualify on the PAT. And when you give you that form before you come out for the written test, that form will actually give you a breakdown and the website where you can submit that document to Cal HR to make it easy for you. We're going to give the information on the day in person, on paper. All right. So just know that in the short term, make sure you get a copy of the DT14. If you have it and you can't find it, it's in the back of some closet, in some box somewhere. All right. Now, I'm telling you right now, now's the time to kind of search for that and dig it out. And if you want to pursue and try and get in that top tier, just based off that veterans preference. Or you have the option, come out and ace that test, and you're going to get in there either way.
When do you find out the results of the written test, and what is the passing score?
So the written test, it takes about 30 days for us to grade. It's actually not a CHP specific exam. That test is actually coordinated and created by Post, Peace Officer Standards and Training. They're an auxiliary department, agency that handles law enforcement training, the minimum requirements for any law enforcement agency. All right. So that's a test that we decide to use, and they are the ones that take your tests and actually grade it and give us the results and give you the results. But that test is curved. All right, that's graded on a curve. So whoever does the best on that test, gets 100% or 90% or aces that test, they set the curve of that exam. Okay, but the baseline minimum score is about 48, but that does vary depending on the test group.
Okay. After graduating the academy, how long can one become an undercover officer for the CHP?
So for us as the entry side, all right, no matter who you work for, no matter what department or what agency you're in, whether you're undercover as an ICU investigator, detective, for an expedited recovery for our FEAR unit, who actually handles the port of entry going in and out of Mexico, our Mexico liaison unit, which is part of our specific CHP unit that goes into Mexico to pursue investigations across the border. And yes, those are all part of our organization as California High Patrol, or even our air operations, flying helicopters, being observers. Every single one of those officers in any unit, they've all served time in the field, working in enforcement for at least 2 years, minimum 2 years. But several of those positions will take you 4 or 5, sometimes longer, to work your way into those units based off of how hard you're working and your resume, your active working resume you're putting together in your career, showing you can actually make good, strong, rational decisions when you're out in the field, doing the basic job as an enforcement officer, the bread and butter of our department. And that's one thing that is good for us, is that every officer, despite where you are now, 5 years in, 10 years in your career, working as in air operations, as a background investigator, working as a public information officer, you have that all common experience and knowledge about what the job is like. So as a public affairs officer, possibly, if you decide to pursue that, you'll be able to talk about the job because you've done the job as well.
I have to ask for Roseman, you have to be a good patrol officer. We want to see that you get noticed, and then you'll get you'll be available for these other positions, these investigative positions. So just do your best, be a great patrol officer, be a good beat partner, and then you'll get noticed. Okay. Hard work.
Yeah, work hard. And if my is the one thing I want anyone to be able to say about me, whether they laugh my jokes, whether or not, is that they can say that Officer Rosemont's a hard worker. All right. And when you do have a chance to meet individuals that are in those specific units you may want to be a part of, smile, crack a joke, be likable. All right. People tend to gravitate toward people they want to work with, especially in these small units.
Absolutely.
So that's just inside info. Thanks for your career with the California Highway Patrol. But it also transposes and works for pretty much any career going into banking, all right, sales, other agencies, and the California Highway Patrol as well. It's a way to communicate and carry yourself as a qualified individual for that job you want to earn, but also someone that wants to be brought around that group or that unit or that team.
Okay, we have a lot more questions left.
All right.
When does when does the 10-year background history start? From the day they apply or from when they fill out the ESOP?
It goes from when you from testing, right? It's from the testing. 10 years from your first your written test.
Okay, gentlemen, you guys look great in uniform. Is it the shirt stays? Question mark.
Is it shirt?
And do you tailor your sleeves? Thank you both for all this great information.
This guy.
This guy right here.
All right. May we email?
I stuffed my sleeves.
Next question.
May we email Officer Lozano personally? I'm assuming if they have more questions. Maybe there's a phone number they can call.
I'll give you my email, my work.
Yeah.
I'll give you my work email. It's llozano@chp.ca.gov. Just make sure you leave your contact information. I can get back to you. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Okay.
And if you have specific questions as well, and you can't get a hold of Officer Lozano, maybe he's out, you can always contact us and we'll get you in touch with our people and try and answer your question best we can.
All right. If your supervisor for your previous job is no longer there, should you just put the supervisor who works there now?
I would put the supervisor that works there currently, but still try to get that supervisor that was your supervisor at the time. That's a person that's going to have the best knowledge of you. Hopefully the new supervisor has some information, but we want the supervisor that was your supervisor at that time you worked there.
Where can you find the investigation waiver for those serving in the military but have yet to be discharged?
Yeah, so every person gets investigated in the same format. The question is a little bit hazy here. I'm trying to figure out, maybe you can restate that for us. But even individuals that have a previous investigation to get secret clearances while in the military or working for a specific employer, we still have to do our own independent investigation. And the reason for that is that if anything were to happen, a decision you made or an employee of our department were to make later on, we have to be able to say with a clear conscience and without proof that we did a thorough investigation, and this is why we hired this individual, not because of a third-party reference and then giving us a thumbs up or thumbs down based off their investigation that has a different focus or emphasis. We have to do our own background investigation, and that typically does take about 6 to 7 months, depending on you, the applicant, the kind of paperwork you put together, answering questions, and how thorough you are putting your life together and presenting that to your background investigator for them to proceed.
What happens if you provide your neighbor's contact information and they choose to ignore you?
So you're trying to tell me that your neighbor gives you contact information, but they don't want to provide information to your background investigator? We get that sometimes. Let us call the neighbor and find the reasons why, and we'll deal with that. Just provide us the information you can. Like I said, we'll note that in the report that the neighbor didn't want to give a reference.
How many tickets can you have before being disqualified?
There's no set limit now. Just be honest with your tickets right now, okay? We'll determine that based on a case-to-case basis. The citations and the severity of the citations, we'll look at that too. So it's a case-by-case basis, okay? Just be honest with your citations because, like I said, we'll find out.
Yeah, be honest about everything. But a lot of the things we look at are based off of recency and frequency. And the end goal is to establish the reason why we look at these things is the end goal is to establish if you're mature enough and ready for this job. You're going to make good decisions, now, and not just, the last 6 months or 2 years ago.
So we look for recency, the relevancy of the issue or the citation, and if the citation is it reoccurring. So those are the three things we look at: recency, relevancy, and reoccurrence.
Okay, if someone is running, doing push-ups and sit-ups every day, is there anything else they can do to get fit for the PAT? And is there any type of grammar or language to ensure success?
So just focusing on that physical aspect of the question, I would love to say, go hit the gym, but they're all closed right now. I think we've all, we're on the same boat right now. So you have to be creative with your workout regimen, all right? There's lots of videos out there, lots of different workout coaches on Instagram, on YouTube, etc. But a lot of people tend to ask us, should I run more? Should I do more physical training or agility? We want it all right? Bigger, stronger, faster. We want the best version of yourself. So why not give it all? Run more, do more push-ups, do more sit-ups, do more plyometric workouts. Anything that's going to add to your number one core strength, which is something that is tend to be lacking in a lot of society nowadays, especially for young applicants. Sit-ups, planks, things like that, jumping jacks, all great. But as well as basic strength training, pull-ups is always a great way to kind of increase your upper body strength, push-ups, and burpees, things like that. All right, you have even a small amount of weight with repetitive movement can add to your overall strength.
All you need is body weight. You're okay.
Okay, we're nearing the end here. Is the COVID-19 crisis going to lengthen the background process? And in the meantime, what should they be telling their families as far as the overall completion and progress?
Like I said, we're at full strength right now. We're doing our full investigations right now, even though this crisis is going on. A lot of this stuff is done by phone. Some stuff we do have to do in person. So we're trying to figure out how to do that. We're working our way around that, but we're still at full strength right now. So expect to be in backgrounds fairly soon. And
just to touch on that, I think we're on the same boat. We're all trying to wait this thing out and wade through it the best we can. But whenever your opportunity comes, be ready for it. Just be ready for your opportunity when it comes. In the short term, all you can do right now is begin to collect your life history, vet your references, physically train on a regular basis, and do your best to read and improve your learning and writing skills to the point where you can satisfy the minimum requirement in a written test, but also to be a better prepared for the actual academy when you were up there writing reports and you're in the field as an officer. We talked earlier about some of the resources that are available to you for the written test. A few of those resources are on our website. The written test portion on the chpcareers.com website has our applicant study guide, a link to a practice exam on there that'll give you some basic repetitions about what the questions will be like on the written test. But also, if you just applied anytime between yesterday and April 6th, or correction, the last few months back through December, you should have received a welcome email from myself and our recruitment unit explaining to you some of the options you have right now from an online-based webinar and communication system to get some resources with our written test professor, Ms. Stevie Daniels, with her online video webinar series. You can continue to pursue that with her if you want more one-on-one personal attention, but that is something you'd be working with her from a cost standpoint. But the initial webinar series is completely free, as well as our applicant study guide that's on our website.
Okay, last question here, referring back to the military waiver. The waiver I was referring to is the waiver that needs to be submitted because you are still serving in the military.
Okay, so you're still active duty military. Okay, so you'll be notified by either our sergeant in background investigations or by a background investigator. They'll offer you that waiver, and they'll ask you a few questions. How long is your term going to last? But we'll work with you on that waiver, and we'll get that waiver for you. So when you do get out, you'll be ready to go for your background.
Yeah. So keep in mind, just to touch on that, since it's the last question here, the hiring process once again is about 8 to 14 months. It's about a year, and that's from when you take and pass that PAT and the written test. That's when everything starts. We can't really start your clock until you get through that initial hurdle, jump over that first wall, and get through that initial testing weekend. So number one, your goal as a new applicant is to focus on getting through that PAT, focus on killing that written test, so you can progress through the background process to be up there with Officer Lozano to start to get that process started with us. All right. So if you're about a year and a half out from your EOS and getting out of the Marine Corps, out of the Navy, out of the Army, all right, this is a perfect time to apply. If you applied anytime before April 6th, you'll be testing with us hopefully on June 13th. If you applied anytime after that, between April 7th and today, you'll be testing with us in October, and that's when we hope to start the process with you. So get started. Apply online, guidance, reach out to us, contact us.
Ready for you. That's it.
That's it.
That's over.
Do that.
Thank you for everything you do. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Copy.
Good luck to you.
Oh, this is